choose new tracks like who's that? I'm new, come back better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. Never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today. I will never be the same, cause that's what it takes.
I'm back, sat out here in the garden on the newly built decking area that I can use for a bit of yoga, a bit of stretching, and just like a bit of a place for exercise, because normally in the house I sort of get attacked by the little one trying to create a scene from Game of Thrones or something. I'm back on YouTube after a long break since the end of June after the Derby half marathon. So yeah, I am now sort of coming to the end of the Valencia Marathon training, so I thought it'd be nice to jump back in to the YouTube and get back on Strava, because all the hard work, sort of the most of it, is all done. I'm back to give an update to people that sort of want to know what's happening. Obviously I'm going for another sub 3. It'll be the 6th time I've tried. It'll be the 6th time. Failed 5 times, but we'll just keep going. So yeah, before I go into all that, let's go back to the end of June where I sort of disappeared and talk about why I disappeared and what I've been doing whilst I've been gone. So going back to Derby at the end of June, that was supposed to be the big race where I try and break my half marathon time that I would ran at 1:22 just a few months before it in March, and that was my personal best. I ran a 1:22 at the North Links, felt really good. And in Derby I ran probably the worst time I've run for a half marathon for a long time. I think I was looking back at the results, and it was before COVID. That was the last time I ran around that time, 1 hour 28. Everyone's at a different place, so don't think I'm saying 1:28 is awful. It's just relative, where we are in our own training. But for me, 1:28 was a sign of a massive decline in performance from the PB half, which I ran leading up to the Manchester Marathon, which you might have saw if you followed the channel. I didn't do very well in that either. I failed again for the sub 3, and I had problems very early on in the race. Even in the warm-up I mentioned on the video, I was struggling with my breath and things. But yeah, it didn't go to plan that marathon. So after that marathon, came back straight into training and trained for the great Manchester run, the half marathon. And that was like not a key race, but it was a race that I thought I could try and get near my PB, not too far off. I ran a 1:25, but that felt really hard at the time. I remember Paul I was running with, he was going for his PB. I think he ran 1:24, and there was a part in the race where he just left me, and I was like, I can't go with him. I just can't go with him. I feel like I'm coming to that point where I'm just going to crash out if I do. A lot harder than I thought it was going to be. So after that race I was just like, it's okay, I've got a good few weeks till Derby, train and go harder and keep going. And then Derby was approaching. Didn't really feel that good, so I knew with the training that it wasn't going to be the key race that I'd hoped, and the big PB push, not a chance. So I thought, you know what, let's try and just break the Manchester time, get under 1:25. And that didn't go to plan either. In fact, it was a 1:28, and I felt so bad. I felt so like, I guess I felt humbled, and it was a big eye opener, and it was sort of like it was the last straw sort of thing that said, right, you need to stop training, because you're just plummeting, from 1:22 PB to 1:25 to 1:28. If I carried on, would the next one be like 1:33 or something? So let's talk about the break. So now we've got to the end of June. I've just run the Derby half. I'm on this break. I took some advice from the comments and messages from people saying they experienced similar things, with my lungs and feeling out of breath and things. So I went to the doctors on the advice of some other people, went to get checked out. They sent me to hospital for blood tests, and I had a chest x-ray, and I got a little bit worried, thinking, could it be something serious? But the results came back absolutely fine, and that was just a massive weight off my shoulders just lifted. I felt really just grateful that it was nothing serious. Let's just focus on recovery, build from the base again. So yeah, I looked into overtraining, looked into some articles, watched some videos, and it seemed I ticked all the boxes for this sort of long-term overtraining syndrome, where it inevitably just, you see your results crash. At best they stagnate, but at worst they just come crashing down, and that's what I was feeling. So I thought it was just that. I started to introduce some mileage, very low weekly mileage, a few runs, very easy, no vlogging, no Strava, no plans, nothing to do with training. It was just freedom, really. Then weeks went by, started to add a few strides in, a little bit of intense accelerations on runs, just to test the lungs, and it was getting better, but obviously I was not very fit, just because I'm not training. I'm a bit heavier now, I'm eating a bit poorly. And then I decided to have a bit of fun at a track event run by the Hillsborough Running Club in Sheffield here. It's just a casual event, very, very social casual. Pit against people in waves of your similar level, like your part run time sort of thing. I had a few races, entered the 100 metres, which I did quite well in. I came first in that, and I ran 12.5 seconds, which is not bad considering I don't do any of that type of running, and I was quite heavy at the time and very unfit. So yeah, did quite well there, quite enjoyed that. I did a few more races, but I bailed on one of the relays at the end because I was knackered by then. I didn't realise how intense doing these track events are, bloody hell. But after that, again, just back to easy running, no structure. It wasn't until late August that's when I started to think about Valencia, and I thought, if I'm going to give this sub 3 thing a go, I sort of need to start training quite early to build that base and build patiently. I asked AI basically to make a plan, a sub 3 marathon plan, 16 weeks. I wanted the long run on the Sunday, I wanted it all in kilometres, metrics. I wanted a rest day on the Monday, I wanted a rest day on the Friday, I wanted to run 5 days and not anymore. And yeah, I used to use AI to really tweak some of the structure of it all, and once it laid out the foundation, I went in and used my own experience of what I've done in the past. Because funnily enough, the only time I've done my own training plan was my PB in Manchester the first time, and that is my PB when I was 9 seconds off. So it's not a crazy idea, but this time I've used AI to help fill those blanks where I weren't sure. If you go onto my website, you can have a look at a page I've set up about training. It has a general outline of all the things regarding the build. I've got a blog as well that some of you might have already seen, so if you want to look into more detail of things I'm talking about now and the training, it'll show you roughly what I'm sort of doing, the weekly layout. Yeah, it's a 16-week build, but it wasn't until a few weeks in that I really started to follow the plan. I was still doing my own thing because I wasn't caring about the sessions or hitting paces at all. I'm just thinking about getting back to a really good standard of fitness right now, and if Valencia isn't the sub 3, it's fine. I'm just happy to be back on the track where I feel like I can build on. So of course I'm going to go for it. I'm going to throw the kitchen sink again in Valencia. But I have to be realistic. I'm coming off a 1:28 half marathon, which I struggled really badly. For me, I think you have to run a 1:26 at the very... I'd say that's the cut-off, really. There's not many people breaking sub-3 marathons, running 1:27, 1:28 and upwards for a half. So that's where I'm coming from. That you're only as good as your last race. So yeah, I have to be realistic. On the 1st of December, is it going to happen? Is it not? I'm sure everyone's heard about Valencia, and everyone's seen the sad events that has happened there. And there's a lot of discussion. There's a lot of things going off. So yeah, we don't know if it's on. We're still waiting. And there is a lot of discussion, a lot of arguments online and things, and social media. People saying this, people saying that. I've seen a lot of comments and things, and There's people trying to demonise runners who want to run the event if it's on, and they say you should throw your place away if it's on, and not run it in respect and things like this. Not sure I agree with all that. I just think I think we should just wait for the official decision and hope that when the decision's made, it represents the will of the people of Valencia and Spain. So I won't be throwing my place away, that's for sure. If it's on, I'm going, and I put my faith in that they've made the right decision. That's all I can do. That's all we can do over here. I'm not going to sit here and say what's right and wrong for the people there. It's up to them, and I just hope they make the right decision. If it's off, that's fine. I'm happy with that. Talking about flooding in general, my in-laws, Sai's parents, they suffered from flooding. You probably won't have seen it on the news, but in northern Thailand, where they live, they were devastated by the floods. And when they got back, they were evacuated a little bit too late, and they suffered the effects of the flood. When they got back to the house, it was wrecked, it was ruined, and it's still to this day, a couple of months on, it's they're still trying to recover and fix things. So I know it's going to be a push for Valencia to put this on. In the case of the Thailand floodings, I asked my wife what was the mood like days after the flood and the recovery and all that stuff, and they said, well, the town really want to get back as soon as possible. They want the tourism straight back. They want to say, look, we're strong, we're resilient, it's safe to come, it's not a dangerous place, it's all, we're fixing it. So they wanted the tourism straight back. So we don't know, is it the same for Valencia? We don't know, everyone's different. If Valencia is off, I do have a backup plan, and that will be to run the Malaga Marathon on the 15th of December, which is an extra 2 weeks training, but it sort of puts me in a little limbo area now, because I'm sort of thinking, should I be tapering? Do I change the sessions? What should I be doing? I'm going out there to Valencia with my brothers. Got my brother Humphrey, you might have seen him on the channel if you are a long time follower. He said he'd never run a marathon again after Madrid and what happened to him. I suggest you go back and watch that video. He hit the wall, and yeah, it was quite an intense experience, and he said never again. But obviously he is running again. He wants redemption from the marathon distance. So yeah, he's going to Valencia. Got my other brother coming from Singapore. He's gonna run with my brother. Normally he'd be going for a PB himself, but he's had injury problems. He's not got the training in that he wanted, so he'll run with my brother and do pacing duties. There's a lot of people coming out to Valencia that I know, a lot of people on social media that I'm sort of chatty with, some YouTubers that I'm chatty with, they're out there as well. And I've got the London lads that have been on the channel before that I've met through running, quite fast guys. So yeah, it's going to be quite a good atmosphere when we're there. Try and do a shakeout run on the Saturday if it's on. I might put details out if you're around and about where we are to try and meet up for a shakeout run. Yeah, thanks for watching, and thanks for all the messages whilst I've been away, asking if I'm alright and things like that, and how's it going. And a lot of you saying you're missing the channel, so I hope this is alright for you, and you know what I'm doing now. Subscribe if you want to carry on following this sub 3 crazy roller coaster ride that I'm on. Let's do it, the 6th time, could be the 7th time, but we'll know when we ever go. Right, and I'll see you in a bit. It's getting cold outside. See you later.